to have an election. He simply wanted to metamorphose from a military dictator to a civilian president. So we had a running battle. As soon as Association for Better Nigeria was born, we rushed to court in Lagos and got an order that that body should not sabotage the electoral process. Unknown to us, a case was filed in Abuja here to stop the election, the June 12, 1993 election. So I rushed to Abuja to serve the order we had obtained in Lagos, to submit it to the court before Justice Basi Ikpeme. She collected the order and thanked me. But in the night, by 9:30 p.m., there was no light in Abuja. So she used candle to read that dangerous order stopping the election. So we're in trouble. I'm happy Mr. Buhari Bello is an ABN that the election should not hold. But Professor Nwosu was determined to hold the election. So when he was summoned to the villa, he knew legal issues were going to arise. So he asked Buhari Bello to accompany him. So they went to the villa. Fire. You can't hold this election. Professor Nwosu, in his characteristic manner, like a teacher, he made it clear to the military guys, the election will hold. And told them all the arrangements that have been made. He then said, but what of the court order? You are playing with contempt of court. At that stage, he said, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but I have a lawyer here. And Buhari Bello took off to educate them that we had filed an appeal against the order of Ikpeme and against the order of Justice Saleh. That after the order, the election was to hold now. And they said, we have filed an appeal against the order. And we are challenging the jurisdiction of the court. We also filed a motion for stay of execution. Therefore, the question of contempt will not arise. Well, the military lost the argument. And they simply warned Professor Nwosu, if there is a breakdown of law and order, we shall hold you responsible. They were convinced the election will not hold. Lo and behold, the election held very, very successfully. The area that we are never told about, which is relevant to what is going on in our country. I'm not here to deceive you. I've heard a lot of positive things about the political class in Nigeria, how they should emulate Nwosu. No, they are not ready to do that. You just had primaries. Primaries. Those who cannot conduct credible primaries cannot conduct credible elections. You know why the masses voted for Abiola? We're never told. We just were. The election united Nigerians. We didn't know about ethnicity and beyond that. Abiola campaigned on the basis of fair way to poverty. Abiola campaigned that the resources of Nigeria were sufficient to take care of everybody and banish poverty from the land. He also challenged, surprisingly, a capitalist Abiola challenged the IMF and the World Bank. Who are you, these guys, to tell us how to govern our country? For which the West never forgave him. Professor Wosu conducted a credible election, the fairest and the freest ever conducted in Nigeria. General Babangida then decided, what do we do? There was no trouble anywhere. The election held peacefully. What would be the basis to our knowledge? As the results were being announced, they got the chief judge of the FCT High Court, Justice Mohammed Saleh, to stop further announcement of the result. This was where we ran into trouble. The Campaign for Democracy chairman, the late Dr. Beko Ransom-Kuti, called a meeting, attended by himself, the late SYMFONI and myself, that we have got the results of the election. He was seeking our legal advice whether it should be published. Meanwhile, the government has said nobody shall publish it. We look at all the laws. We couldn't find any provision of the law that prevented Nigerians from knowing the results of the election. So we published the results of the election and mass circulated it. Wow. The guys came to capture us in Lagos and brought us to Abuja, where we were charged with unlawful assembly. People were already on the street protesting the delay in the announcement of the result. 2, were charged with sabotage of the program. And 3, was charged with sedition. We had no access to lawyers, so the late SYMFONI and I appeared for ourselves and our colleague. And while asking for bail, we pleaded with the magistrate, please, can you order the members of the FRC who annulled the election to be brought to your court? Because you have brought the wrong people to the court. Of course, we're entertaining ourselves, we're on our way to jail. But we tried to turn our bail application into the trial of the regime. At the end of the day, the magistrate refused our bail and ordered that we be detained in Kuje prison. Actually, it was one terrible prison in Kefi. People were dying every day. So I ran to the magistrate. Yeah, I'm a young person. These 2 people may die in their plan. They will blame you. Why don't you ask them to go to Kuje? We were there last year, while I can go to Kefi. And she was gracious to say, no, you prefer Kuje? I said, yes, my lord. Okay, I will send the 3 of you to Kuje. So when Kuje, we got our bail in the High Court. But General Babangida said no. If you release these guys, there will be more demonstrations in town. So General Babangida left us in prison. When he left us. In Kuje, it was Shoneko that released us. Now, what as illegal arrest and detention stop in Nigeria? No. So when we are celebrating Owosu, we must go back to where we're coming from. Today in Nigeria, if you make any statement against a governor or the president or a big man, you are charged under the Cyber Crimes Act. So our right to free speech is already taken away from us. Whereas in 1982, in the case of Oton Nwankwo and the state, the Court of Appeal held that the law of sedition imported to Nigeria by the colonial regime shall no longer be used to terrorize Nigerians. And that the freedom gained from our colonial master must not be toyed with. If you are offended by any publication or defamatory statement, you should go to court where you will put your own reputation in issue. You sue for libel, not by using the machinery of the state to intimidate or oppress your opponent. But that is what is going on today. All over the country, citizens are arrested and charged for expressing views that are not in consonance with the people in power. As we are gathered here today, many children, school children, are in the custody of criminals, including teachers. One of them has been beheaded in our country. We're talking of democracy. Can we go to elections under these conditions? Nobody is safe any longer. And so, I'm happy the members of the armed forces are here. I defend those of your members who are charged with before court-martial in war-related matters. And I've said it publicly, the Nigerian army has taken part in over 40 peacekeeping operations around the world, organized by United Nations, ECOWAS, African Union, and wherever they went to perform, they did so credibly. They brought laurels, medals to our country. But how can we not expect the same armed forces, not equipped, not motivated, to fight terrorists? And that's why we're in trouble. So here today, if we want democracy next year, elections, we must ensure that kidnapping, abduction of Nigerians, including children, stops. Unfortunately, the representative of the Senate president has left. Senator Godswill Akpabio told Nigeria 2 weeks ago that abductions will stop 2 weeks after the election. Now, what is going on now is because of the election. Please, let's tell him through the media, we want abductions to stop now. We can't wait until next year. For the majority of our people, elections are not about going to vote. As far as these guys are concerned, votes don't count. They have no belief in democracy. So in fact, they would think we are entertaining ourselves here by talking of credible elections. Those who are buying cars for themselves. Serap has just won a case. The National Assembly members allocated 110 billion to buy gifts for themselves, while our people are wallowing in abject poverty. So when we are living here, we must go out and be determined to ask questions. You know the media, what they are promoting now is, where does this politician come from? What is his religion? Will people vote for him because he's an Igbo man or Yoruba man or Hausa or whatever? No. When you engage in such politics based on ethnicity, religion, and other primordial considerations, they are very happy because you are not asking questions about unemployment, about insecurity, about poverty. So they are very happy. Today, we have 18.5 million children on the street. That is before Boko Haram they are sending children out of school now. In the rural areas now, it's difficult to send your children to school. So we can't be talking of, like politicians, when we are gathered here, we can't be talking of election without addressing problems that will make election impossible next year. If terrorism continues, if abduction of people continue, it will be difficult to even campaign very soon. So I am therefore urging Nigerians, when politicians come around, please don't talk about religion. Ask them, you have been there for 4 or 8 years. What have you done about electricity, about our state of our roads, about our hospitals that are consulting clinics or even mortuaries now? Because they have no answers to those questions, they will fall by the wayside. Currently, and this is important, the First Lady, the wife of the President, goes around now and announces donations to women. Please, under the National Social Investment Program Act, the government shall identify vulnerable people in our country, north and south, east and west, and embark on cash transfer to them on a monthly basis. This is not my idea. It's now in the law. There shall be free and compulsory education for every child from primary to junior secondary school. The first 9 years. We must now ask the government, when are you going to enforce this law? There is now compulsory health insurance for all Nigerians by law. And so, when we live here, we must get ourselves together and ask questions. What the federal, state, and local governments are taking from Abuja every month now is 3 times what they were taking before. Why is it that our people are getting poorer? Please, National Human Rights Commission will work together here, because this center too wants to promote accountability. Every month, we must know what goes out to every tier of government. Iroele, as Minister of Finance, was publishing statutory allocations every month. Why did this stop? Some governors went to the Accountant General's office. Please, you are inciting the people against us. Stop the publications. All of us now must know what is going to our local government. I told a governor recently, sir, the last time so much came to my local government. He said he was coming to see me in Lagos. I said, why do you want to see me? I just want explanation. After payment of salary of about 60 million, what happened to about 450 million? So all of us must get ready. Because it's not about voting. Many people have no money to even go to the voting center. And when you want to talk about voting in Nigeria, you must also be ready after casting your vote to stay there and ensure that it is counted in your presence. Otherwise, you know what I mean. Now, when you talk of Professor Nwosu, there are professors in Nigeria and there are professors. Those who announce fake results, some of them are professors, fake results. When my friend Mikey Guinea was resident commissioner in Akwa Ibom, he called 2 of them, 2 professors, took them to court and had them prosecuted and had them jailed for announcing fake results of elections. So that you can know what Nwosu stood for. And if you want more Nwosus, in our society. We must be prepared to stand for principle, to stand for justice. Don't say this one is from that side of the country or from this side of the country. Injustice is injustice to every Nigerian. And for armed forces, I want to congratulate you for the rescue operation in Maiduguri, where 360 Nigerians captured for about 3 months were liberated on Sunday. We also want to thank the police, want to congratulate the police for the operation in Ibadan. Very professional. And we're all watching it, that the lady that was kidnapped, the minister's sister, and her twin sons were released, were rescued unarmed. We need more of it. This criminality of giving money, paying ransom, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And that is why the business is thriving. The other one I think I should also let you know, you can tell the authorities. This business of negotiating with criminals. They even say some of them are repentant. And for that reason, you are giving them money, you are integrating them into the military. No! By virtue of Section 12 of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, negotiating with criminals, holding meetings with terrorists, carries a penalty of 20 years, no option of fine. Do you understand me? So that the government officials who are embracing so-called repentant criminals, somebody has beheaded citizens, they've killed children, they've taken ransom and still kill people, and you are saying that they are repentant. How can they be repentant? The law says they shall be tried, and the penalties are set out in the law. Let me conclude by telling all of you that our country is one of the richest countries in the world. Yet, our people are suffering. And my sister spoke very well. My sister, Professor, will bear me out. Nigeria is so backward when it comes to women representation. Yet, more than 50% of our population are women. But they are excluded from our politics. Go and find out the primaries they have just conducted. How many women in the man? You know, we are so backward that we feel Nigeria is ahead of others. No! Today, the president of Namibia is a woman. The vice president of Namibia is a woman. The speaker of Namibia is a woman. The 3 topmost positions. And some African countries today, but 4 of them. Ethiopia, South Africa, Rwanda, and another, and Namibia. The cabinet is 50-50. Not we are giving 10%. And then we are celebrating. No! There are more women in parliament in some African countries than men. Senegal, Rwanda. So why are we keeping women out of politics? And we tell we are talking of democracy. No! Any exclusion of segments of the society, particularly, you can't have democracy without the liberation of women. Let me congratulate the members of the Uwosu family and Your Majesty and the entire people of Aroshuku, Ancient Kingdom, for producing and for donating Professor Unfiltered to Nigeria. My brother, your father has left a legacy that you should be proud of. You know, I know this. When you introduce yourself, most people will ask you, is it the Onwosu of Unfiltered? I mean, yes, you can't buy it. You know, we're gathered here today not to celebrate Onwosu's wealth or prosperity, but to celebrate his name, his integrity, his courage, his morality. And for me, that is the best way to honor great Nigerians. It was a bit controversial initially in the Senate. They were fighting. Should we honor Onwosu or not? They didn't know the sacrifice. They didn't understand it. That somebody could have become a billionaire when money was money. If he had asked for oil block and oil block, they would have given him. But they knew he was determined to announce the result of the election. So they surrounded the house so that they would not announce the result. My brother here, is he still around? Bello. Buhari Bello. Please, can you stand up for recognition? I beg you. You know this man, please sit down, supported by his chairman, he went to the Court of Appeal to de-annul the election. You know, it was when they were in court, talking law, that an announcement was made outside. The election results are not. No court shall determine the legality of the annulment. And that was where we ran into trouble. You know what we did? You know, many people are writing now that the heroes of democracy, my brother, when the true issue will be written, your father will occupy a prominent place. So please, I greet you. I thank the family. But please, this center you have established, you have your job cut out for you. We shall work together. I can assure you of that. I will give my services pro bono publico. Don't worry, anytime. My brother Ojukwu. My brother Chief Tony Ojukwu. I thank you for ensuring that the National Human Rights Commission continues to serve the interests of Nigerians. You know, you took off from where my brother Buhari left it, and you are taking it to a higher pedestal. Please keep up your good work. As long as you continue to tread the path of progress, you know you can always call on me, and I will always be ready to give my services. For Nigerians who are determined to promote democracy, we have to go back to the drawing table. In fact, some of us are rushing back now to the barricades. All these guys have forgotten what Nigerians went through to have this rickety democracy. But we can make this country the best in Africa, not the one that South Africans and others will be chasing out of their country, in spite of all our sacrifice. So our country is great, our people are great, and we can be greater if we have decided to defend democracy, if we resolve to defend democracy. So I thank you very much for your attendance at this program. I do hope that people will have left their addresses so that we can be in touch. My Lord, sir, that case that you did for Gani, sir, where you said, if the likes of Gani do not have local standard, who will have local standard to defend the poor? My Lord, they have set aside that judgment, but we are going back. Luckily for us, sir, only 5 of them sat in the Supreme Court. We have other cases where several sides, and that is the normal one when it comes to constitution. My Lord, I'm happy. Most people are not aware that my Lord is over 70. My Lord. Because you're a good man, you will live long, sir. And thank you for coming to share this occasion. Once again, I thank everybody. I will always come back. I'm rushing back to Lagos. You know, you will pity me. I will do a case in Lagos tomorrow. I'm back here for another one on the 11th. So please, you will excuse me so that I can always come back. Thank you very much.
Femi Fal, SAN. Although he didn't allow me to adequately and properly introduce him, but then I like to tell you that when he speaks, there are pin drop silence, and that is why you saw that standing ovation to appreciate him after his very, very important and